first episode of the Long Range Addicts podcast. My name's Cole Kornberg. I will be your main man, hopefully, for the rest of this, and looking forward to making some great content that you can all listen to. Tonight, I've got the man of the hour, Mr. Travis Ashita. How you doing, Travis?
I'm doing great, brother. How about yourself?
We're doing awesome. Travis is the president of the NRL, National Rifle League. We've been friends for a while, and I was actually one of Travis's first guests on his podcast, and I think I was the very first guest.
I think you were the very first.
Yeah, so I'm like, well, you know what? It's just fitting to get Travis and everybody back on board for this. So I appreciate you joining us, dude. It was short notice with SHOT Show and everything else. I've been kind of getting my butt kicked trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to do. And we might as well do this baptism by fire, right?
Right. Yeah, nothing wrong with that, man. We're super appreciative for having us on the show, and glad to be here, and glad to be the first one to pop your cherry since you popped mine.
Yeah, what are friends for, right?
There you go.
So, Travis, can you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you and what the heck got the NRL started.
No, absolutely. So, again, my name is Travis Ashita. I'm the founder, president of National Rifle League. How the NRL kind of all got started is I also own a media company called Contingency X, and we had clients that were in the long range precision rifle game. So, of course, we kind of immersed ourselves in that lifestyle, in that world, and we started filming a lot of the PRS matches back in like 2015, 2016, somewhere around there, 2014, around that time frame. And we're having a ton of fun doing it. And you know, the sport started to grow and things started to change in the sport. And there are some things that, you know, we thought, you know, might be done better, might be done a little bit differently that would help grow the sport. And so I sat down, I went out into Vegas. I was out there for something, I can't remember. And I hit up a good friend of mine that I met through the PRS, Tyler Frainer, who was at the time a co-match director, I think, for the Vegas chapter, the Vegas crew out there. And I told him about my idea and pitched it to him, and he said, yeah, you know, let's give it a try. So it was a really big gamble on both of us. And basically all we wanted to do is offer, you know, a different flavor cake. You know, the PRS, you know, great organization. I had a ton of fun with them. You know, things were changing and we just wanted to kind of go our own way. And we started the NRL, and it's 2016 that we kind of sat down and made those decisions. And 2017 was our first year. Had 8 matches. The next year, I think we went to 16 matches. This year we have 21 matches. And in that time frame, I mean, we've just grown tremendously. Just because, like I said, you know, we offer a different flavor cake. Not everybody wants the same thing. And we really try to focus on the community. We really try to focus on education, on the growth of the sport, and doing everything that we possibly can to give back to the sport and make sure that, you know, it's going to be here for a long time.
Yeah. And that's one thing, you know, when you guys originally came to me for Dog Valley, it's one of those things that we kind of took a gamble all together and we're like, hey, let's start something new and get going. And I really like the way you guys have kind of, you know, gone about how you set up, you know, the matches too. There's a lot of matches out there. You've got, you know, the mom and pop ones, you've got everything else, but you guys have kind of done a lot of different things when it comes to getting sponsors and different things and helping the match directors with their prize tables. I mean, that's one of the biggest things. And I think that's what kind of sets you guys apart as, I think that's what kind of sets you apart as, you know, from the other ones, is being able to understand sponsors and then having to work with match directors and everybody else.
Right. Well, I think that's why Tyler and I were such a great dynamic. Is Tyler, you know, had been a match director for a long time. And so he understood the match director mentality and what match directors wanted and, you know, what was realistic and what wasn't. And then with our marketing background, we knew what sponsors wanted because we've been dealing with sponsors. You know, I've been dealing with sponsorships for 20 plus years in one facet or another. And so I knew what sponsors were looking for and how they wanted to be treated and you know, what they needed to see to be happy to continue to support, you know, the industry and the sport. So, you know, the great thing when you have any kind of organization, you know, a great leader is somebody, in my opinion, that can find other great people that can do things better than him where he's weak. So I've never been a match director. I've helped with small little things here and there, but I've never done a match. And so, when we thought about the NRL, I was like, I need a really good match director. And all the matches I ever went to for the PRS, Tyler's match, the Sin City match was my absolute most favorite. And I'd gotten to know Tyler over the years very well. And stand-up guy, I knew that anything I put in front of him, challenge-wise or idea-wise or whatever, it was going to be a no BS answer. It's going to be straight up what, this is how it is and this is how it should be. We talk about it. We've come to a solution. And we had Brittany Weldon, who's also on the executive board, and Ian Kelby. We talked about it amongst all four of us. And then we presented to the board of directors, which you've been on since day one. And then we'd all vote on it. So, leadership is, an organization is only as good as its leader, and its leader is only as good as its people that you surround yourself with. So a lot of people think that the NRL is me. Well, I'm kind of the coach of the captain of the ship, but I can't do it without the great support that we have from our executive board, from our match directors, from our ambassadors, from everybody else. So it's just, it's been truly a blessing.
No, and you guys have kind of, and that's, I can't reiterate it enough, that you guys kind of went with an outside the box thing. And that's what's so cool about it, is there was a lot of other things that people could have done, and you guys kind of took it and you went, hey, we want to support every one of the matches. We want to support every one of the match directors. As a match director, that's a big thing, because it's hard. It's hard to get sponsors, especially with as many matches as there are. It's hard to get, the registration done. It's hard to get all that stuff done. And not to mention, it's hard to get the people together, with censorship on Facebook and everything else going on. It's really hard to get a great group of people together. And that's what's so cool about the National Rifle League, is it's honestly become more of a family, and about the gatherings, and about the, the after the shoots and different things.
Yeah.
That's kind of that's the biggest thing that I've missed, shooting. And that's why I want to come back and shoot this year, is it's just like, I miss the people. That's what's so fun about it.
It's honestly, the NRL, we set it up as a 501c3 non-for-profit. So none of the executive board takes a salary or a paycheck. Our board of directors don't take salaries or anything of that nature. So our biggest thing is community, and whatever we can do to get people together is what we're all about. One of the biggest things, when I was helping out with other matches with a different organization, they shot their match. They had a great time. Everybody had a good time at the match, but then everybody kind of split up and went their own way. They did their own thing. Yeah. And I was like, I just traveled, 1,500 miles to come out here and shoot, but also hang out with my friends, and everybody's going to bed, or nobody knows what to do. There's nothing organized. So now at every NRL event, we talk to our match directors, and we try to set up some kind of after hours activity, so that it doesn't matter if you've been a part of the scene for 10 years or if you've been a part of it for just that day. Everybody's welcome. We want everybody to come out, have a good time, meet everybody. None of us bite, at least not bite hard. And it's, if we can't openly embrace the new people and let them have fun and teach them about the sport and the gear and so on and so forth, then our sport's not going to survive more than a couple of years. It's just gonna fade away. And right now, since we got involved with the Contingency X in 2014 all the way to now, I mean, this sport has grown tremendously, like night and day. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy, because I never, growing up, I never said, hey, I'm going to start a shooting league. That was never something that I even thought existed, and now here we are today. I feel that we're the largest precision rifle shooting league in the nation, just because of the NRL Border War, and NRL 22. We're just truly blessed with what we're able to do and the amount of support that we're able to give, but also receive.
Yeah, and that's a big thing a lot of people need to realize. I get asked a lot, through POI, through my company, is I want to start shooting, but it's overwhelming. I don't know what to do. And that's one great thing about the NRL is, you go to a match, there's loaner guns, there's loaner ammo, everybody's there willing to help. It kind of takes that precedence and gets people more engaged. I read an article yesterday about how hunting is tanking. Over the last few years, the hunting industry has completely started to tank. And why is that? And I think a lot of it is just getting people engaged. And I think you guys have done a really good job with that. Especially with like the NRL 22 starting up, is getting kids and women involved. That's huge. That's everything. And that's
It is.
what I want to do with my little boy, is get him more interested in that than Xbox.
Exactly.
And I think you guys have done a stellar job. Do you want to, tell us a little bit about NRL 22?
So, one of the main missions of the NRL is education and growth of the precision rifle community. In the first year with the NRL, we really tried to get more females and young guns, is what we call them, into the sport. And we got some good traction there, but it didn't really reach as many people as we wanted. And so we sat back and we were talking about it. And Tyler was, talking about it. And he's like, what if we did this with a 22? And he kind of pitched me some ideas that he'd been thinking about. And, as soon as the conversation was over, I don't think it took me more than, a couple of minutes. And I was like, yeah, I'm all in. Let's figure it out. But when we said that, we were like, probably maybe 100 people are going to sign up. It's not going to be that hard. Let's just do it. It'll be fun. And the whole point of NRL 22 is to take the fear of centerfire away from the sport, meaning, big calibers or small, fast calibers, recoil, expensive gear, taking all of that out of the equation. So the more variables that we can eliminate from the equation, the more people that we can get involved. So, we set up the NRL 22 so that it was super friendly for kids to get involved, for women to get involved, for elder people that may not be as physically active to do centerfire, for them to get involved. And it just exploded. I don't even know how to put it into quantification. It went from, okay, it'll be easy, to, oh my gosh, we got to really build a backbone and structure for this, because right now, I think we're at or over 1,000 members in just the NRL 22. We have, for NRL 22 this month, we're tallying up the matches that competed in this month's Course of Fire, or December's Course of Fire, or January's Course of Fire, I apologize. And there's 54 clubs that participated nationwide. 54 clubs a month are competing in NRL 22 nationwide. And that's bigger than any other precision rifle sport in the US right now, bar none, period.
Well, yeah, and that was the thing. I came from Voodoo, that I just kind of jumped headfirst into 22s, and I think it all came about the same time. Voodoo got into it, NRL 22 started, and I can honestly say I don't think 22 leagues would be where it is now, because no one had the ability to put it together quite like you guys did. You've got all these new 22s coming out at SHOT, and why? You had 1022s forever. You had these really accurate systems out there, but no one ever got together and put anything together. And I think that's where the NRL 22 really succeeded. And kudos to you and Tyler, because a lot of these companies I don't think would be where they're at with their 22s without the NRL 22 either. And the growth that it's gone. You can go out, you don't have to sit in a reloading room all day. You can go out and compete with a few $100 22, have fun. You compete against everybody there, and then you guys have your monthly, your monthly giveaways and stuff. And that's what's really, really cool and what sets it apart. And, it's all one big thing that you guys have kind of created. Now, I know you guys have built a new NRL website.
Yes.
Does that have NRL 22 and everything on it as well, or what is it?
No, so NRL 22 is not on there yet. We use the NRL as kind of a testing bed, so to speak. This year we launched a new website, and there's a couple of great things about it. Is we really went for a data initiative, and what that means is for every person that was a member for the NRL in 2019, we collected as many different stats as we could based upon their performance throughout the season. So now when you sign up for 2020 membership, you have your own shooter profile competitor page where you can upload your photos, you can list different products that you use, you can add your sponsors to your page. But then below that, it also gives stats such as your hit ratio, It gives you how many matches you went to, your performance. And then what's cool about it is if you and I shot last year, we could compare stats right there on the website. So I could type in my name, see my stats, type in your name and compare them. And I could be like, damn, Cole, you beat me by X amount of points, but I had a higher percentage hit ratio, but you were better at this part or whatever. So it really breaks it down statistically so that people can analyze how they did that year and where they need to improve and where they're strong. Like Nick Godarzi went into the championship last year with I think it was like an 85.6 or something like that hit percent ratio.
Mm-hmm.
So that means 80%, 85% of the shots he takes, he's hitting a target.
That's nuts.
That's crazy, right? And for most people, they have no idea what their hit percentage ratio is. So now we're able to provide that information, and you can figure out, where you were all season at what match, what stages were your hardest stages and where you need to improve. And you can see, on this match, I did really great. This match, I did poor. What was the difference between these two? Was it weather? Was it gear? Was it, what was the change up? So that data initiative is phenomenal because not only does it give the competitors a way to track what they're doing and how they perform and get better, but it also gives sponsors an opportunity to have another touch point because they list all their sponsors. So you have POI has a new shooting team this year. So we got to get your logo up there, right? Because you're sponsoring a whole shooting team. So now we can go in there and find out who exactly is part of Team POI and what they're doing and what gear they're running. And then if they're a sponsor of the NRL, all of their gear gets broken down into finer categories and gets links back to their website. So for a sponsor, again, looking at what do the sponsors want, they want that engagement. They want to know who's running their gear. And every year, Cal Zant does a phenomenal job with his surveys. And the only thing I'm not a fan of with the survey is it talks about what happened the year before, right? Because it goes out usually after the championship. Mm-hmm. So now with this setup, we can see exactly who's using what as they fill in their competitor profile. And everybody on there, I don't know the exact number, but everybody on there so far has been filling out their profile, which means I can go in there and say, hey, how many people are shooting a Defiance? And I could pull that report and tell you out of how many people registered, how many of them are shooting a Defiance, how many are using Vortex or US Optics or MPA or whatever. So it becomes a huge marketing resource for our sponsors as well. Again, something that they've never had before during a season. They've always got it after the fact.
Right. And a lot of people kind of base a lot of their purchases off, the PRS blog or whatever it was over the last few years. But what this sounds like is it's a live interactive thing that if you're a member of the NRL, you can go interact, see what everybody's shooting, and maybe when you're at a match, somebody's going to be there and they're going to be shooting that new Terminus or they're going to be shooting that new whatever it is.
Right.
And you can go find that person and kind of look at it. And I think that's one big thing is everybody wants to see, touch, feel. And that I agree that is a big thing for sponsors. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it's a great way for them to also be able to make changes halfway through. If they're finding that a certain product isn't doing what they thought it would do, it gives them an idea of what product is doing better than them, and maybe they should relook at their design or the product offering or whatever it is.
Right.
So,
right. I've got a quick question here from Michael. I'm going to throw it up here. What is the difference between NRL and PRS?
What's up, Michael? The biggest difference between the NRL and the PRS, and this is just my opinion. Well, there's a couple of facts. Fact number one is NRL is a nonprofit, PRS is not. So everything that we do is for the growth of the sport. Number two, we both shoot similar styles of course of fire. So, barricades, tank traps, field matches, all of the shooting styles are very similar. But the NRL is really based around the community. We're based around the growth of the sport and getting new people involved. If you talk to somebody who's participated in both NRL and PRS, they can give you a opinion from themselves. Obviously, being one of the founders of the NRL, I think that we offer a overall better product. But I think PRS, their matches are great as well. I think they have a lot of great match directors, and some of their top competitors are really good friends of mine. Joe Walls, David Preston, Keith Baker. All of those guys are phenomenal guys and great group of guys. We just offer something a little bit different. And if you haven't tried either or, depending on where you live, there's pretty much an NRL or PRS match in every state west of the Mississippi. Come check out both and kind of decide for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing is, as a match director, there's a lot of match directors that cross back and forth. And I think as a match director, you get a little bit better. You get a little bit better, love from the NRL, and I think the biggest reason for that is you guys cap your matches. The PRS, Shannon and those guys have done a really good job building the PRS. I mean, it's exploded, and there's a lot of matches. But for the NRL, you guys cap it.
We're more focused on quality versus quantity. One of the big things is the NRL. We always have one of our executive board of directors at every single match. Mm-hmm. So to date, I've only missed one match in the past couple of years, and that was because there was a flood in North Carolina, and I wasn't about to fly into a flooded area. So I just said, I'm not. It's not going to happen. This year, I have to miss 2 matches because I have family weddings, which I'll get shot if I don't attend. Mm-hmm. So I got to do the family thing, but somebody from the executive board is always going to be at a match. We have the NRL trailer at every single match, which is, if you haven't seen it yet, you go into the trailer, there's a complete workshop there. I have literally built, or I should say assembled, rifles from components, everything right there in the trailer. If a trigger goes down, we have spare triggers. If an action goes down, we have spare parts for most of the popular actions. If a scope goes down, we have spare scopes from all the top manufacturers out there. So we try to do everything we can to keep people active in the sport. Plus Contingency X or Connex Media, we go out and we film and do photos for every single match. And that's going to happen even at the matches that I'm personally not able to go to. Crossing my fingers, my team is going to take my truck. It's my daily driver. So the team's going to take the truck and they're going to, travel off to those 2 matches, and hopefully it comes back in one piece, but they're going to be there representing and taking care of our community, just as if I were there. So I think that's another big difference is we're there at every match, and quality is way more important to us than quantity.
Yeah, and I mean, again, you can't iterate enough. I don't know, even at my match in Dog Valley, there was a bunch of stuff that went down. Everybody ran around like chicken with their head cut off. And
you guys got that moon dust.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Put that in there, makes them run good. Anyway, so they'd hit the trailer, and they'd be able to fix something real quick and get back out shooting. And that's a huge, huge thing. And, that takes a lot of time for you guys to pull that freaking giant trailer everywhere. But I know it's a huge value added to the shooters. And, as a shooter myself, I know it's, it's appreciated for what you guys have, the thought process and put everything into it.
Absolutely. It's our, and there's no charge for any of that stuff either.
Yeah. You guys got to figure out a better place to park it next time.
Yes.
That's we got my spoon out. Hold on. I'm going to stir it.
Yes. It's,
you know it.
It was one of those things that was, we just got home from the championship. What Cole's referring to is our trailer got broken into for those of you that don't know. We just got back from the championship in Texas and parked it not even 100 yards from my back door from my office. It's where we usually park it. And that exact night, we got home at like 2 in the morning or whatever, 27-hour drive. So, hey guys, we'll unload it in the morning. And that very night, as soon as we dropped it off, not even probably 20 minutes later, some idiot was in there ripping me off or ripping us off. It's a community trailer, so ripping all of us off. So it was
yeah, you can't. That's tough. The thing is, we had one just like that on a construction site, and they actually cut the entire side of the trailer out and stole all the tools out of it.
Wow.
Like, I mean, anybody that's crooked, it's not going to stop them, no matter about what anything you do.
Right. And We've been lucky though. From this, the community's really come together. A lot of companies, and I mean, even like the Guardian, quote unquote competitive league or competitor league, which they're not. They're our best friends. They donated money. Sponsors were donating money to help in product to get us back on our feet. Companies that weren't even sponsors at the time sent product to help us get back on our feet. Donations came in, thousands of dollars in donations came in so we can refit the trailer. Short Action Precision is putting in a complete alarm system. So out of all of this tragedy, it really brought the community together and everybody stepped up to make it better so that we can make sure it's back on the road for 2020 for everybody.
Nate
So
and
thank
those
you.
Short Action are good guys. They've always
Yes.
taken good care of me. So another thing I wanted to ask you about, and I'm learning about a lot of this right now. Like I said, we've come back from shot and I've been buried, and you've put a few new things on here, and I want to go over it.
Yeah.
One being the new NRL Live. Now, I know you guys have done NRL 22 Live. That's how you guys have given away a lot of, the winnings and stuff. And I love the way you guys have done that. What's the NRL Live?
All right. So the NRL Live is our new creative multimedia platform for 2020. And for those of you that were able to, at the 2019 match in Texas for our championship, we were actually able to live stream that match. It was a complete beta test, so we didn't promote it. We put out there on social media once we got it working. And over 1,000 people tuned in to watch the match from their home or their smartphone or whatever it was. And it's shown live on the NRL website, nationalrifleleague.org. Then we were also able to show the award ceremony live, and we had over 1,500 people tune in for that. What was really cool about that, and what really was powerful for me, is Tate Streeter, our current champion. His mom has never seen him get an award, and she was able to tune in and watch the live stream of him going up and receiving his award. So that was really, really cool. So
It is awesome.
Yeah. So now, Cole, you're at a match and you're doing well on the stage, and it's a match it's a stage that's going to be filmed. You can call the wife and kids and say, hey, daddy's about to go, do really good or really bad. and they can tune in and watch.
Don't watch. You're going to watch me choke. I'm gonna drop my mag. I'm gonna freaking break my scope. Yeah, no, Cole's not going live. It ain't gonna happen. It'd be like a freaking one ring circus.
Right. But it's really cool because now people that don't know about the sport, they can watch it live from the comfort of wherever they're at. Families can watch their family members competing. Sponsors have another platform. So we have certain spots reserved for sponsors. If you're an official sponsor of the NRL, you're going to get a 15-second commercial in our live stream. So we have our sponsors sending us in commercials for that. So, you're shooting a course of fire. Let's say one of the team POI guys is shooting a course of fire and he cleans it. And we, during the live feed, the next thing that comes up is a team POI commercial. Right. Right. It gives sponsors another touch point because now, the problem with these matches is from a sponsorship perspective, you only are reaching maybe a couple hundred people, whoever's at the match. Now with the live stream, you're reaching the entire world because we had people even signing in from Australia, from, Africa or South Africa, where we have NRL over there as well. And we had some of the South African boys down here. So people from all over the world were tuning in. So now your marketing dollars really have a much larger reach.
Yeah, and that's good. So a quick question, I know somebody's probably going to ask, if you want to sponsor the NRL, how do they get a hold of you?
My email is pretty much everybody has it already, so I have no problem saying it out here. It's Travis@nationalrifleleague.org is the best way to get a hold of me for sponsorship. And it doesn't matter what size company you are, small or Fortune 500, super large, whatever. We have a package for you. We don't want to be that organization that caters just to the top 5%, because that's the exact opposite. We want to be able to cater to everybody that wants to be involved in this sport. Small, medium, large, doesn't matter to us. We're going to figure out how we can help you guys out.
What does it cost what's the membership dues again?
Membership is $100 for the NRL. We have the Border War series. So if you sign up for the Border War series, it's $50. If you sign up for the NRL Border War combo, it's 125, so you save $25. And then NRL 22 is completely separate because it runs on a different time frame. It runs June to May because we want more kids to be involved in summer break and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So right now you can join the NRL. Memberships are live right now. It's 100 or 125 bucks depending on what you want to do. And the Border War series, if you haven't shot a 2-day national, Border War series is by far the best way to get your feet wet, get in there and have some fun. Great, same group of guys that are shooting the 2-day nationals, but a lot less competitive. It's like you're just going out with buddies to shoot for the weekend for one day and just have some fun. It's a lot more affordable. You're shooting 80, maybe 100 rounds, and it's usually within driving distance.
Yeah, and one thing that I'm going to recommend to the listeners is if it's something that kind of really scares you, go try the NRL 22 out. You've got a 22 laying around. You got some 22 ammo. Go out, shoot, kind of understand what you need, because a lot of the same equipment kind of can be used both. NRL 22 has a limitation on equipment, but kind of go get your feet wet, get your adrenaline going, get to understanding competitors, understanding stages and different things, and then dip your feet into one of these, Border Wars series, the 1-days. You can leave in the morning, shoot your match, and be home by night. You don't have, a lot of the 2-day stuff. You've got motel rooms, you've got everything else. You're running into quite a chunk of change for the 2 days if you're really going to be serious about competing. But again, if you want to get involved and you want to start it, go try it. And another good way is to RO.
Yeah.
Just go run an iPad, go do that kind of stuff. And you can sit, talk to competitors, see how they plan out stages, different things like that, because as a match director myself, I need ROs bad.
I think I've RO'd for you a couple of times.
Yeah. Cause it's, we always have ROs that don't show up and different things. And I think that's a big thing too, is the ROing part of it kind of helps you understand. It'll help you watch trace. It'll help you understand, how to enter a barricade, do different things. So you're not on the clock and you can kind of pay attention to some of that. And again, you can still go build some camaraderie. If you go RO a match and then you go attend a match, you might be able to shoot with some of the same guys that you RO the last time. And it might feel a little bit more comfortable with what you're doing.
No, absolutely. And, now that you bring up the ROing aspect, that's one of the softest points in our sport, for NRL, PRS, doesn't matter what series or what level you're competing on. ROs are imperative to our sport, and there's been debates about it all over the web. But what we're doing for ROs is, I think it's Clay's Cartridge. He's having a poker tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So after registration, sign into do a poker tournament, and part of that money is going to go to the ROs to help pay for ROs for hotel rooms or food or whatever. One of our match directors is doing a cornhole tournament. We all love our cornhole, so we're going to be doing cornhole tournaments for you guys to help raise money for the ROs. The NRL, we went out and purchased that shot marker. Have you seen that shot marker? The one that you can look on your iPad and tells you exactly where on the target you hit.
Oh, okay.
We had that at the championship, and it was one of the things that got stolen. But we ordered another one. We paid for and bought another one because it's such an awesome piece of equipment. And we're going to have that for all of the match directors to use if they want to do a side match to help raise money for the ROs. So we're trying to do everything we can to help incentivize ROs to come out and play and learn. And then a lot of our sponsors this year are going to be offering discounts for their products to our sponsors, and substantial discounts, like discounts to the point where it's a prize table worthy discount.
Yeah, that makes it great, because as a competitor, like I said, you get into 2-day matches and stuff, it gets expensive. You think between fuel, motel rooms, ammo, time away from family, and everything else. So that's definitely a value added, and $100 compared to a lot of this stuff isn't much, even if you go out and shoot a match or two. I think it'd behoove a lot of you to join the NRL and just see what the benefits really are. And I know Travis and everybody will take care of you for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I one of the biggest things, one of the reasons I love to RO, and I RO as many matches as I'm needed, is I get a personal touch point with every single competitor at that match that weekend. I get to meet new people. I get to learn about new equipment, new styles of shooting. I get to take my selfies with Philip and all of my friends. So ROing is just a great way to get into the sport and make friends. And in all honesty, it's it can be it can seem stressful if you don't know what you're doing, but if you don't know what you're doing, that's the exact reason to do it, because you can help another RO who is seasoned at what they're doing, and you'll be able to pick up their mannerisms and what they're doing, and you're going to learn a heck of a lot faster that way. And more likely than not, you're going to be a better, safer competitor.
And even me, I've competed for a while. I've shot for, a couple sponsored teams and different things. And no matter what, I'm still going out there learning stuff. I'll walk into something else, I'll watch somebody else do it, and I'm like, crap, I never thought of that.
Right.
And that's what makes it fun. And a lot of this stuff, I guess a lot of people don't understand. There's a lot of hunters that might watch this. There's a huge crossover between understanding, getting under the gun, getting your adrenaline going, getting different things going, running your gun, doing different things like that. There's a lot of crossover that you could really use in the hunting aspect as well, and I think a lot of guys might be a little scared. Well, I don't have a gun that can compete with this, or I don't have, this stuff. I mean, I shot with a guy a couple years ago on the Colorado NRL match, showed up with a 7 rem mag.
I remember that guy.
EDL, I'm like, oh, this is going to suck for that poor guy.
Yeah.
I think by the end of it, he didn't even have a break on it. I mean,
Nope.
that had to freaking suck.
Yeah.
But, and that was before you guys had the trailer.
Right.
So, if you guys showed up, had the gun set up and everything else, don't be scared to ask. I mean, Travis and these guys show up to a match and say, look, I don't have a gun. I don't know what I'm doing. Help me out. And these guys will help you out and then get you dialed in, and you can just go have fun. Do you guys charge for the ammo, right?
No. Oh, yeah. No, nothing. So with the loaner rifle program, you can hit us up through the website to reserve it. We try to reserve it so that we know exactly what to bring. We have a handful of loaner rifles, and so I only try to bring what I need. I don't want to carry around 5 extra rifles if I don't need to, but I usually have 2 or 3 in the trailer at all times. If you reserve it, if you're a new shooter, new to the sport, and you can reserve it. If you're a competitor that I know by name already and you want to use it because you didn't get your load development done, too bad, bro. Get your shit together.
I was gonna say, I'm like, shit, I'm gonna have this right now. I'm selling all my guns and I'm gonna go shoot the NRL's gun.
Right. But our sponsors have been phenomenal. So if you are new to the sport, you're an NRL member, anything that we have, you're able to use. 90% of the time I have ammo. There's been, I think, one incident where I didn't have ammo because the loaner rifles were already being lent out to other people. But 99% of the time we're going to have free ammo that we know will shoot sub half MOA and we have different glass. So if there's an optic that you're thinking about buying, but you're not sure and we have it and you want to try it, we'll put that optic on that rifle for you and we'll let you go out and try it. All of our rifles right now are 6.5 Creedmoor, but Isaiah Curtis is building a 6 Creedmoor because we know a lot of the new shooters want to shoot that 6 Creedmoor now that there's factory ammo for it. Yep. They're going to be doing that, and I don't know all the specs on it because he's working with his sponsors to get that done, but we're going to have that this year. So you have your choice between 6.5 Creedmoor or 6 Creedmoor, and you'll be able to go out there and bang away and have a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't say it. These are not just run-of-the-mill, bought off the shelf. Most of these are custom-built guns, spun up by some great companies.
Oh, yeah.
Companies that I'd let touch my match guns. And, they're not just run-of-the-mill. And it'll actually give you some thought. And if you're going to, maybe go shoot it, use the loaner gun, and then go build your own gun, it might give you a little bit better idea what you're looking for in your gun as well.
Absolutely. These are all top-notch companies. I don't have any factory rifles on the loaner program right now. That's not to say that we won't in the future. But everything right now is a custom built rifle that if I were to go out and spend good money on it for my personal self, these are the guys that I would want to be doing it. Blue Mountain Precision, Isaiah, all of these guys are phenomenal companies and products that we work with.
That's awesome. Next up is I want to talk about Tyler. Now, Tyler is a good friend of mine, Tyler Franner.
Yep.
the guy's put blood, sweat, and tears into this. He's one of the masterminds beyond the RNL 22. And, last year I kind of pulled him aside and we talked, and this stuff burns you out. And that's kind of, one of the reasons between a business and everything else has kind of burned me out. And, you guys he kind of decided that he want to step aside and let somebody else come into this and kind of kick ass. And, Scott Saturday, I mean, I don't think you could have picked a better person. Scott's a good friend as well. And the guy is squared away when it comes to matches and different things. And I look forward to working with him this year, at our match and doing different things. But you want to tell us a little bit more about how that goes?
Yeah. So Tyler's my brother from another mother. He's one of my closest friends. He stays at my house. I stay at his house. His daughters are like my family. His family's my family, and vice versa. The NRL in its entirety would not exist without Tyler. I wouldn't have done it, and it wouldn't be what it is. That NRL 22 or Border Wars. And Tyler, a lot of people don't know this. Tyler is also a fire captain in Las Vegas. And Las Vegas is one of the most active fire stations where he works as one of the most active fire stations, on the West Coast or in the world or country. I don't know, but he's always super busy. He has a stressful life without precision rifle in it. And he's been, going hard at this since day one. And he just finally, said, hey, I need to spend time with his family. With my family, he's got 3 beautiful little girls plus Janae, and they're growing up, and they're doing sports and volleyball, and he wants to be a dad. And if I had kids, I'd be in the same way. I just don't have, I don't have that responsibility right now, but I understand it. So Tyler said, hey, I need to take a step back. He wanted to just, kind of leave everything. And I told him, hell no. I said, Tyler, you can't leave us, but you're a founder. You're always going to be a part of the company. But if you need to step aside and let somebody else handle some of your responsibilities, let's figure it out. And he says, well, if you'll let me, I want to nominate Scott and Saturday. And I was like, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. I've known Scott again since when I was doing work with the PRS. I've known him for years, since 2014. He and I have always got along, have always had mutual respect for each other. That guy has forgotten more about this sport than I'll ever know. He's literally a national hero. He served our country in many different aspects. And he's one of those guys that even if you don't know him, you go up to him and you ask him a question, he's going to stop what he's doing and he's going to help you.
Yeah. And he's extremely knowledgeable. I mean, he puts on the Night Force ELR shoot,
which sold out in like a day and a half or something.
Yeah, he still hasn't caught me yet.
Or me.
But no, he does a lot of stuff with sawtooth rifles, or he has done. Brian Morgan, a lot of these guys that train a lot of classes that everybody tries to get into, and Scott's been there, done that, and he's doing a lot right now for MDT, and he gets around. I mean, he's done a lot of great things. And again, I can't say it enough, is that we're excited to see what he can do this year. And, not saying that Tyler wasn't, because Tyler was a wealth of knowledge and he always helped us out a lot. And I can't say that enough. So it's exciting to see where it's going. You guys have a lot of good people involved. The board of directors, which I'm on, there's a lot of good freaking dudes in there. There's a lot of people that, you questions. Yeah. But, yeah. But you know what I mean? Is there's people that you can go talk to that have a whole lot of knowledge. New matches for 2020. Now, again, we kind of went back over this, as you guys are keeping it kind of minimal so that you can keep prize tables full so that, you can support your match directors. What new matches are going to be around for 2020?
So besides our flagship matches that we've had for a long time, such as your match, we have a couple of new matches. Number one is Clay's Cartridge. Clay Blackadder, who is the current PRS champion, and I forget exactly what place, but he's one of the top competitors in the NRL. Sorry, I forgot what place you're currently sitting at, Clay. He's going to be holding a match, and co-directing is Tate Streeter, who is our current champion for the NRL. So 2 national champions for both series, holding a match in Oklahoma is going to be super exciting. Next, we have Dave Ferguson and Prentice Wink in Texas, where we just had the championship. They're going to be hosting a regular match, not the championship, so a little bit less stressful, a little bit more relaxed for them, but it's still going to be just as much fun. Everybody who knows Dave and Prentice know it's always a good time. We have the Northern Lakes Classic in Minnesota, Aaron Menzie. That is a match that I'm like super. I hate to admit it, I don't know a lot about the match, but I'm super excited to go to. And the reason I say that is Aaron has been a part of the NRL Border War series, and his Border War series match, I think he does them at 100, so like at a national level capacity. His match sold out in hours.
That's nuts for a single day match to have 100 shooters.
And in Minnesota.
Minnesota.
So I'm super. It's Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota. I mean,
Minnesota. You gotta say it right.
So I'm super excited to go up there and meet him, finally, and see what he puts on, because I've heard nothing but great things about his match. And he's been a Border War supporter since Jim C and his team were working it. So we're super excited to have him. Ryan Moles, Michael Beamer, we're heading back to Kansas for the Box Canyon Showdown. Again, this is going to be a new match for us. I've worked with Michael Beamer in the past when the Punisher positional was part of the NRL, and he's a great, solid dude, part of the Border War series as well. So I'm excited. That's going to be a new property for us, or for them as well, for matches, from what I understand. So that's going to be excited. And then we have another match in Utah, the Northern Utah Barrel Burner. Aaron Gines is helping with that. Paul Higley up in Northern Utah. Utah, your state where you're at, Cole, is, I think between you and Texas, you guys have like the highest density of precision rifle shooters than any other state. And so to have a second match in Utah, even though it's not a huge state, just kind of made sense because there's so many competitors that want to shoot in your area, and it's a beautiful state.
Well, it makes it easier for me to go to it too. And Paul and those guys are, Paul's on Team POI, and we're talking to Aaron about doing some stuff with us. So
nice.
They're just great dudes, and we're excited about it because it's nice when I can actually go to a match that's not mine, that I don't have stress over, and it's not that far of a drive. So
yeah, you don't have to fly, right?
Exactly. Well, the short bus is going this year, son.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That might be a match that I go to super excited, and I leave with a concussion or a hangover or something.
That's good training. That's what we used to call it in the military. That's good training.
There you go, baby. Next, we have the Devil's Brigade Shootout in Montana. Chaz Bells from Warhorse Development. Montana is one of those states that I've never been to, so I'm super excited to go up there. We had a ton of interest from that state, and we had to pick between one of the three, and all of them were top notch. We decided to go with Chaz just because his scheduling and the facility. We heard nothing but great things about him and his match, and he had been working with me for a couple of years trying to get his match in, and so we wanted to give him the opportunity up in Montana. So we're excited about that. Don't ask me what city it's in because I can't speak Indian.
You're just getting English down, aren't you?
I'm still working on it. I'm still working on it. Watch my NRL 22 show, man. I can't pronounce half the names I pull, and I feel like such a dip. I feel so bad.
Dude, some of these names, I'm like, seriously? Who gave you that name? Are you messing around? Did you put your name on there?
It's tough sometimes, and I try to respect everybody's pronunciation and backgrounds and everything, but my English is bad, my Japanese is worse, and my Spanish is almost as good as my Japanese. So it's like, and then our next new match is Regina Milkovich and her team, the Arizona team, the TPRC, is going to hold their their full size match, I guess I should say, in November for the NRL. So we're super excited about that. The Arizona crew, since the beginning, you know, we've had different teams or clubs from Arizona host matches for the NRL, and they've all done a phenomenal job. The TPRC is an every other year match, and this year we're very fortunate that they decided to make an NRL match. So we're excited for that. And then the championship is going to be held in Oklahoma by Tate Streeter. I believe he's doing this on his own. I'm not sure if he has a match director yet, because everybody that would match direct for him are contenders for that championship. And now that he is our champion holding our championship match, the championship is open to anybody. He can't defend it. So it's going to make for a very interesting year to see who pulls it off, because he can't, you know, he literally can't go back to back. And there's a ton of great competitors, you know, in that central area that could take it at any given day.
He didn't think that one through, did he?
He was excited. He was excited. I think the thing is we were smart enough to get him to accept the responsibility of the national championship before he won the championship. So we're like, you're doing the match. He's like, heck yeah. And then he wins. And then he probably went home that night and said, damn, what do I got to do now?
Yeah, that's one of those things, you know, we can go into a whole nother podcast about match directors. There's so many misconceptions and everything. It's like, I do it every year after my match. I look at my co-match directors and I'm like, what the hell are we thinking? Like, why do we keep doing this? I'm picking sand at everything. I have to go get my truck detailed. I got to go get me detailed, pulling sand out of places that isn't supposed to be, moon dust, you know?
Oh yeah.
It's, I don't know. It's always one of those things. So next question, what is the NRL Academy?
Okay, so the NRL Academy kind of comes back around to our match directors. And for the longest time, you know, I think I've been talking about it with certain people for about 2 years now. And the NRL Academy is basically, it's going to start off in phase 1. It's going to be precision rifle for dummies is basically what it is. Okay, so there's a ton of people that go to a match, and there's going to be a new guy that goes, and you're going to try to give him a win call, and you're going to say, 2/10 left, left edge, or whatever it is, dial your dope, and they always look at you like, what language are you speaking? What is dope? What is 2/10 left? What is this? Because they decide to come to a national level match without ever going to training or whatever, which is fine. But they don't ever want to ask, because they don't want to look ignorant to the people around them. 2/10 left, left edge, what dope is. So NRL Academy is going to provide all of those basic fundamental information to precision rifle, so that when somebody goes to NRL 22, Border War, or NRL, they'll have an understanding of what's going on, what the equipment is, what the gear is. They'll understand, when the RO says, shooter, do you understand the course of fire? Shooter, are you ready? Stand by, go. They'll understand what all of that means, and they'll be able to get acclimated to it before they get to a match. Now, on top of that, we're also going to have an RO section that's going to be built out so that we can help train ROs to become better ROs. If we can get everybody on the same page in the same format, everybody yells impact. Everybody says, shooter, do you understand the course of fire? Are you ready? Stand by, beep. If everybody says it the same way, awesome. And I know I just said it 2 different ways, but it'll be in order.
It's a standard.
It's a standard. And then also, we're in the process of creating videos of targets right now, where if it's an edge hit, if the target moves one way or the other, or this way or whatever, you're going to be able to understand what side of the target or where that bullet impacted. Or if it's an edge hit, why are you seeing, dust way over here, splash way over here? That competitor didn't shoot way over here. Right. So we're going to show video so that people can visually also learn how to do it. And then we're working on incentive programs where you can actually become a accredited NRL RO.
Okay.
And then once you get accredited, we'll have special incentives for you guys to do that, sponsorship prizes or discounts or whatever it is, even up to the point where we're going to have an official, it probably won't happen this year, but eventually our goal is to have official NRL range officer team. that always that team goes to our championship. That way we know it's officiated by the very best all the time.
It's kind of like the Super Bowl crew, referee crew that they're the best of the best, so that nothing gets missed type thing.
Right. And it's the crew that doesn't care if you're, a top shooter and you call something that they don't agree with. They're still going to stick to their guns. They're not going to fold because, you're a celebrity shooter or whatever.
Right. Another question. So the East Coast,
East Coast.
the PRS NRL's kind of up and down the middle. The PRS has got a few more matches out here. What are your plans, to try and get out to the East Coast? I know that you probably get asked that a lot, and I get asked that a lot. Why is the NRL not out here on the East Coast?
So without getting into the politics of why we're not out there, the short and simple fact of the matter is if you want the NRL on the East Coast, talk to your match directors, talk to the other competitors. I have no problem going to the East Coast. I spent many, many years on the East Coast. I went to school in Boston. I lived in New York on and off in New York for almost 4 years, because of work. I love the East Coast. I have family in Maryland. I have family in Florida. I have family all over the East Coast. I love the East Coast 100%. But we're not going to force our way into a market that doesn't want us. Mm-hmm. So if, on the East Coast right now, everything is very PRS heavy, which is great. You guys should support, what you guys are comfortable with. The NRL is new to you guys. We're based in the West Coast, so it was very not easy, but it was easier for us to grow on the West Coast, and we are moving further east. But we definitely want to be there. So if you want us there, don't tell me you want the NRL there. Tell your match directors, because every year in August we have an open application to become an NRL match, and it's published on the website. It's published on social media. Anybody can apply. Last year we had like 2 or 3 East Coast matches apply, which was great. But for us to come to the East Coast, I won't go east unless we have a minimum of 4 matches. And the reason is you have to have 3 matches to qualify for the championship. So if you have 4 matches, it gives everybody an opportunity to at least miss one or make up their score on one if they don't want to travel west. So 4 is the absolute bare minimum to me, what would be fair for the competitors to sign up for a membership and try to compete to go to a national level championship. Mm-hmm. Right now, we do have several matches on the East Coast that have already committed to the NRL for next season. And I'm not going to say who or where, because we're a year out, so things could change. But there's a lot of interest on the East Coast, so hopefully we will be there next year.
Good. And that's the thing is, I think there's enough shooters and there's enough people coming on. There's plenty of room for everybody. I'll probably go shoot a couple PRS matches just because of what they are. And there's crossover for match directors. Right. There's a few match directors that are shooting both. And that's a good thing is there's always room. Competition is good because it drives everybody to be the best at what they're doing. And absolutely. I think that's great, and a lot of people have asked, why hasn't the NRL and the PRS merged? And honestly, I think it's probably better that they don't, just because it keeps everybody honest and it keeps everybody going. PRS has their own one-day matches. You guys had the Border Wars. There's plenty of room out there for everybody, and there's plenty of matches out there. A few years ago here in Utah, we were talking about it the other day. There was, maybe one match a month or a match every couple months. Now in Utah, there's on any given weekend, there's a match somewhere shooting long range somewhere, whether between NRL 22 and standard NRL and PRS stuff. So there's plenty of stuff out there for everybody to do, and there's not really any excuses not to get involved. The ladies, the kids, and you guys, the NRL has a young guns division that has a women's division. So does NRL 22. And can you kind of explain to maybe some of the listeners how the NRL 22 set up that stuff to kind of get everybody involved so that they understand that they're not competing against like the top of the top? There's the open class, there's the youth, there's, that kind of stuff. Can we explain that to some of these guys?
So, this is a common misconception for people when they join the NRL 22 is they think that regardless of what class they join, that they're competing against everybody, and that's not true. We have an open class, which it's pretty much you're still limited to one bag and you're limited to certain gear, but you can have a $5,000 rifle if you want.
Mhm.
Um, we have a base class, which is like $1,000 something or less. Um, and it's meant for people that want to get involved in the sport that don't want to spend a fortune on building their rifles. They're going to go out there with an RPR and a decent piece of glass, and they're going to go out and they're going to have fun. Now, open class and base class don't compete against each other. They shoot the same course of fire, but there's a first place open class and there's a first place base class. So
Mhm.
you're competing against only the people in your division. And it's the same thing with women and young guns. They're only competing against other women or other young guns. So when you go out there and you see Cole with his beautiful voodoo and whatever optic, USO optic or whatever he's running that weekend, and you're the new shooter, don't be intimidated by him because he's competing in the open class. If you're competing in base class, it doesn't matter what he does. It matters on what you're doing against other people in your class. And we set it up that way specifically because we don't want anybody to feel pressure or anxiety or stress or not want to participate in the NRL 22 because of gear. We don't want this to be a gear race. And a lot of it, because of the evolution of the sport, is turning into a gear race. And we're going to be working on some of that for the next season on how to accommodate people with that a little bit better. But yeah, you're competing against only the other people in your class. So don't worry about that big fancy rifle that somebody else has.
Right. And that's one other cool thing is to set up a match as well. The match directors, they don't have to worry about all the prizes. The prizes are done by the NRL. So the match directors just set it up. They go off the NRL course of fire. The NRL supports with a live video every month, which is cool because I've seen a lot of, when I've been tuned into it, there's been a lot of women, ladies winning suppressors and different things.
Oh
And
yeah.
there's a huge amount of cool things that are on that price table, and the more you shoot the better it is. And again, I think it's a little bit different. When I go back to when I explained to start off, it's a little more lax. It's not so it is serious and it's going to get you competing, but it's not the same caliber of craziness, right,
Yeah.
as a
I
two
mean,
national or something.
right. I've been to some NRL 22 matches where everyone's just having fun. It doesn't matter. People are kind of goofing around, but safely, obviously. NRL is super big on safety. Then I've been to other matches where everybody, NRL 22, everyone is just so serious because they want to be that first person to get a perfect score, the first person to do whatever. And it's like, that's great. But remember, there's new people here that just want to have fun. So just have
Yep.
fun with it. Don't don't let your personal goals ruin it for somebody else because you're taking it too seriously. You want to get serious and you're having a great time. Absolutely, there's a place for you here. But remember, there's also people that don't know anything about our sport that are watching you and are making a decision based upon how we all act and if they want to play or not. And luckily, our community is super solid. There's when you have 1,000 people shooting the same sport, there's always going to be somebody that wants to be the black sheep. But for the most part, everybody that I've had interactions with have been super positive and grateful, and the stories we get from families about getting their daughter or son involved and how it's changed their life. I mean, in all honesty, if nothing else, just the fact that we're connecting families on a better level, it makes it all worth it to me. All worth it to Tyler and to Scott and Brittany and to all of our team.
Yeah, and maybe we'll do another podcast with you and Tyler and everybody and kind of explain what you want to look at when you're getting involved with NRL 22, because I think a lot of people overanalyze some of this stuff and think that, oh, they're going to come into it. Maybe some of you are extremely competitive to where you're like, well, if I'm not going to win it, I don't want to do it. And that's not necessarily the thought that you want to take into it, but this is giving you, no excuses to get involved, get back out shooting, get off the freaking couch, go be involved in something and go have fun and meet new people. It's amazing. I tell my wife all the time, I'm like, if I was in Oklahoma, or if I was in Montana, or if I was in somewhere else, I know somebody to call,
Oh
to
yeah.
sleep on a couch, because of the camaraderie and how much fun it is. And, I can't say it enough. Makes you a better hunter. It's just getting out there and getting involved. And I appreciate what the NRL's done. You guys have kind of taken something, and kudos to you guys, because most things don't grow this fast. It takes years and years and years to grow something to where you guys have got it. And I'm not stoking your fire, or trying to give you any props that aren't deserved, but I
Well,
appreciate you guys. Dog Valley, it's grown like crazy, and a lot of that's because of you guys, and we appreciate it.
you love us every single month except June.
Yeah. Again, what the hell was I thinking doing that? But
You
whatever.
know, one of the other things that I want to bring up as well is, for the most part, the NRL Border Wars, and NRL 22, the day to day is ran by 3 or 4 people.
Mhm.
That's it. We manage the whole 9 yards. Our board of directors, when there's something that has to be voted on, or pressing, we get them involved, but they all have jobs and things that they have to take care of. So I apologize, for some of the hiccups and some of the late responses and things of that nature, especially around December, January, because SHOT Show, Christmas, holidays, family, all that, all of those things that we have to take care of. But we are doing our best to get back to everybody in a timely manner. So just be patient with us. And to help combat that, 2020, we are also launched another initiative, which is our chair or our ambassador program. So for the women, we have Killy Lily, who is a phenomenal competitor based out of Washington. Super sweet girl, woman, who is our female ambassador. So if you're a female trying to get into the sport, but you know the female anatomy is different than ours, and how you shoulder or how you move a rifle, or the weight or style of the rifle, all the way down to your clothing and what's going to be comfortable for you to wear, because your females for some reason are always colder than guys
Unless
from
you're
my
Canadian.
right. But Killy is going to be there to help answer all of those questions, and take care of the female aspect of the sport, and get you guys going in the right way. We also have Marshawn, also from the Washington area. She is a huge advocate of the sport of 2A, and she is our educational chair. Marshawn is so amazing. Yesterday, she went and taught precision rifle at a couple of schools in Washington. She got permission from, the powers that be. She was able to go into the school. We did this whole presentation for her. She was able to show it to the classrooms and get kids interested in firearm safety, how to properly manipulate a firearm, and get them interested in the sport. And her passion and drive for education is bar none. And so she's heading up our educational programs and is doing a phenomenal job. And that portion of it is growing super fast as well. Then we also have Colden Cloud. Colden Cloud, I believe he's in Texas, if I remember correctly. Super cool guy, great student, doing very well in school, very disciplined, great competitor. And so if you're a young gun, or you want your kids to get involved in the sport, you guys can reach out to Colden, and he can help, answer some of those questions as a young gun, because, as a young gun, you don't necessarily want to be carrying the same gear as Cole or I, because we're 6 feet and 200 plus pounds. That's not going to work for a young gun. It's 5 foot and 95 pounds wet. So we're trying to set up points of contact for you guys to work with as many different people as you can to get comfortable into the sport, and taking away all the excuses for you not to come out and play.
That's awesome. She's one of my phone scope shooters, and she is a stellar ambassador. And they're people that you can reach out to. Is there any way on the website, or how do people find these people to kind of connect with?
Yeah. So, and you go to our about section, it has all of our pictures and our information on there. But the easiest way, we try to keep it simple. All of our emails are our first name at nationalrifleleague.org. So Marshawn at nationalrifleleague.org, Holden at National Rifle League, Killy, so on and so forth. We just keep it simple for everybody. Nothing hard to remember.
Yeah, and the website's down below, the nationalrifleleague.org. Make sure you use the .org, or you won't find it.
I own the .com and all of that, but with the change, we forgot to relink it. So we're working on that. Still a lot of changes coming for the website as well. We have so many ideas that we're working on right now. It's going to really revolutionize the way that the sport is seen.
Innovation, that's good. That's one of the things that, and again, it comes back to competition and everything else. It's innovation. It's leading the way. It's coming out with new things, and that's what gets exciting. And I think that's what draws more people to shoot the matches and to become more involved and do different things. That's one of the biggest things I look forward to is the after. You go shoot a match, you're tired, you've done that all day, but then everybody's at the bowling alley, or they're at the restaurant, or everybody's getting together. And I think that's the time where you can sit down and really have fun with that. And again, I think that's where you guys have kind of exceeded expectations to try and get people out, and that's what it's all about. Is there anything else you want to talk about, T-Bone?
I want to say thank you. I mean, we have Lucas's comment up right now. The NRL is the most hospitable, inviting, and well-organized organization that I've ever had the pleasure to shoot with. Lucas, man, thank you very much. That means the world to us. We really, really appreciate that comment. We're here. We're here to listen. If there's something that you think we should do, if there's something that you think we should change, positive criticism, even if it's negative criticism, but given in a positive way, we're open to it. We want a community full of great people that are going to help each other out. And everybody, the whole loaner rifle program and trailer came about because I was at a match and my rifle went down, and Chris Cole stopped everything that he was doing and he helped me at that match. He rebuilt my action for me right there. The Okie boys were just right there helping me with everything. And I was like, why is this not something that we do for every match? And, the NRL, we went out and got everything that we could to support our community. And our community is nothing. We recognize this. This is one of the biggest things that we recognize is our community is nothing without the match directors. It's nothing without the competitors, and it's nothing without the sponsors. Without these three other components, and our executive team, the NRL, it just wouldn't be what it is today. So everybody that thinks, Cole or Tyler or Scott or myself, we appreciate it. But remember, we all do this together. So as much as you're saying thank you to us, a million times thank you to you guys. Philip's on here. Philip, everybody sees Philip on social media, and they look at him as a celebrity. I look at him like my little brother. He stays at my house, and we drink together, eat together. His family and my family, his daughters, I love her to death. Philip is also one of those guys. You ever see him, don't ever feel intimidated to go up to him and talk to him, and he's going to be one of those guys just as much as many others to go out there and help.
Yeah, he's a Marine, so offer crayons. That's a peace offering.
Crayons are always good. He likes crayons.
Purple. Yeah, Solinsky just did a review for me on one of the rifles, and he put crayons in the 2-round holders, and I'm like, frick, Marines. It's just how they roll. But no, again, on behalf of being a match director and everything else, we appreciate everything the NRL's done. I appreciate you taking the time to come on to us with our first ever podcast, and hopefully down the road we can have you guys back on and explain some more things, because there's been some questions asked about ways to go into different things, and I think you guys would be good to come back into that. But I appreciate it, man.
Before you sign me off, I know that the show's going a little bit long here. I just wanted to congratulate you, Cole. At the beginning of the show, you had talked about how we've been friends for many years. And that's the truth of the matter from, back when you were, working in corporate America to being an entrepreneur and self-employed. I want to congratulate you. We've had many conversations about ideas and and how to do this and how to do that. And I come to you when I need help. You come to me when I need help. And our friendship means the world to me, and your support for everything that we do with my business ventures and my family. We love you guys. Congratulations on all your success with POI, your new team, your new podcast. And I'm scared to see what you do next, but I'm excited to see it as well. So congratulations, bro.
Who knows? It might scare the shit out of me too. So we'll see. But I appreciate
Hey,
it. What's that?
A bottle of whiskey.
I owe you a lot of things. You got to remind me of the freaking mind of a goldfish. I'll forget. So, anyway, dude, it's good. I appreciate it. And if you guys and gals have any questions or anything else, down below, nationalrifleleague.org, Travis at nationalrifleleague.org. Again, don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to, go say, hey, how can I help? That's a big thing. As a nonprofit, they always need help. Myself, Dog Valley Precision, if you're in the Utah area or surrounding areas, you're more than welcome. You're invited to come here and hang out with us. That's just how the NRL is. That's the family of it. And I appreciate all of you tuning in for our first episode. And thanks, Travis. I appreciate you.
Thank you for everybody tuning in. I wish everybody the best of luck in 2020 and can't wait to see you guys at the range.
All right. Take it easy. Thanks, y'all.